Hello everyone, my name is Raman. Today in this video I want to show you the game played between Bobby Fischer against Ulf Andersson. Ulf Andersson is a pretty strong player. I think he was in top 10 in the 90s or 80s, I guess. I mean, pretty strong player. I mean, you can learn many things from him. And obviously Bobby Fischer is Bobby Fischer, so yeah. So this was played in the 1970s, and Bobby Fischer started with b3, and after e5, bishop to b2, knight c6, c4, pretty much transferred, or we started with b3 but pretty much transposed into an English opening fianchetto variation. And after c4, knight f6, e3, bishop e7, and yeah, d5 is also one move that can be completely playable, but still it's okay. Bishop e7, a3, castles, and a3 is a very typical move. I mean, obviously you want to plant your you want to place your queen on c2, and you don't want to hit with knight to b4, so hence a3, and then castles. I think a5 is also completely playable here, stopping any b4 stuff. Okay, castles, queen c2, and yeah, d3 is also playable here, d3, and developing your kingside pieces, and then castling is also completely fine. And after queen c2, rook e8, d3. I think here Bobby Fischer should have continued with b4. I mean, you can play b4 and continue expanding on the queen side, although it looks stupid not to expand on the queen side, expanding on the queen side without developing your pieces, but still it's okay. I mean, the position is closed, and so I think hence b4 can be completely playable here. And bishop to f8. Ulf Andersson is following some maneuver in say Rai Lopez. I mean, we play bishop to f8 and then follow it up with g6, take the squares away from not this knight but this knight, yep, like this, and we take away the squares, and we also place the knight on along this long diagonal. So okay, bishop f8, knight to f3, and a5. I think here g6 and follow it up with bishop g7 is also completely playable. Okay, knight f3, a5, and bishop to e2, or d5 was played. I think here g6 should be played here. The thing is, again, if you play because of, I mean, now right now the c4 pawn is available, the c4 on the c4 square, and a pawn is there, hence you cannot plant a knight on c4. But and once we exchange the pawns on c4 with the d5 pawn, what's happening is we are creating an empty square. We are creating an empty square on c4. I mean, there are no pawns or pieces on the square, so obviously we can play knight d2, follow it up with knight c4. That's a problem. After knight d2, immediately Bobby Fischer plays the move knight bd2, and f6. Again I g6, castles, and bishop g7 and rook a7, and I think white is slightly better, slightly, not too much, but I mean it's completely playable. Okay, after knight bd2, f6, protecting this pawn, and castles, bishop to e6, and we have Sicilian with reversed colors, obviously. So, and king h1. Again, remember this move, king h1. I mean, it's a very beautiful move. King h1, queen to d7, and rook to g1, and yeah, and this is the start of a typical plan. Okay, so rook a d8. Again, black is playing completely normal moves. I mean, natural moves. Knight to e4, queen to f7, and the idea is to play knight to c5 and at least win either of these bishops. So, and hence Ulf Andersson steps out of it, and queen f7, and then g4. Notice that right now the queen and bishop battery is protecting the g4 squares, and g4 is not playable. But once the queen moves out of this diagonal, then obviously it makes complete sense. I mean, again, we can play the move g4, and notice that to avoid the knight to c5, if you play b6, the thing is, again, we can bring either of our rooks, and we can start attacking on the open semi-file. So semi-open file, I should say, sorry. Knight e4, and hence queen f7, and then g4, start of a difficult plan, and g6, rook to g3, and I mean, this is a spell bonding game, trust me. I mean, so rook to g3 and bishop to g7, and Bobby Fischer. I mean, there is no attack. Initially, there is no attack, but Bobby Fischer pulls up an attack which is with such an amazing play. And yeah, bishop to g7. And if in case of any f5, you know, I mean any g5 with f5, we don't want to lose this pawn, and supporting the pawn. And okay, and rook a g1. Yeah, and one more thing, if here instead of bishop, if instead of bishop to g7, if knight to b6, then g5, and the thing is, if you play then check, and yeah, you're gonna lose, and you're gonna lose an exchange, I mean, and obviously the game. And if you take, this should be simple enough. And yeah, bishop to g7, rook a g1, knight b6, knight to c5, and attacking the pawn, and also threatening to take the bishop, exchange the bishop for the knight, and bishop to c8, protecting pawn and not giving up the bishop, and knight to h4. And look at all these pieces. I mean, the bishop, the bishop is fantastic, the rooks are fantastic, the knight is fantastic, and the queen is fantastic. The bishop is also ready to pounce, and every piece is like attacking. And knight to d1 was played. I think here king to h8 should be played, and just getting out of this any potential discoveries or something, some kind of checks. So I mean, I think maybe king to h8 should be preferred, but still knight d1 is, it is what it is. Okay, and knight to e4. Obviously the thing is, if I exchange again, if I exchange, your pieces are getting better. So why would I exchange again? Your bishop is stupid, your knight is stupid, so why would I make your pieces better? I'd simply get back, that's it. Knight to e4. I mean, again, exchange the pieces whenever it's favorable for you. So first of all, whenever there is a tension between the pieces, so never react to the tension unless and until you achieve something from it. Right now, for example, if do I achieve anything? No. Obviously, I mean, I'm exchanging my good knight for your bad knight, and I'm liberating your pieces. Then why should I exchange? Simply I'll get back, and hence I'm not going to exchange. This is, so whenever you trade, you need to have some benefit. Okay, so knight to e4 and knight to f8. Knight to f8, just guarding the squares. Okay, and knight to f5. Again, the thing is, if you take, and you are not gonna, how are you gonna protect this? And knight takes f6 is also in the air, and I mean, all sorts of threats are in the air, hence. And if bishop takes f5, then rook takes, queen takes, and knight takes check, and yeah, we are winning ton of material. And if bishop takes f5, then g takes f5, and if g5, then knight takes c5, f takes g5, and rook takes c5, and again I think white is winning, and you cannot move this, and yeah, okay, so, and hence you cannot touch the knight. And if a knight lands on f5, whenever your castle on the king side, and if your opponent's knight lands on f5 and you cannot take it, then it's an indication that there is something went wrong, or you are in trouble. So I mean, take this notion. I mean, in most of my games, whenever I land a knight on f5, I mean, in these kinds of structures, I mean, especially in Railupes I'm talking about. So whenever there is a knight lands on f5 and you cannot touch it, and it's like you are squeezed, I mean, you are being squeezed, then it's an indication that something went wrong or you are in trouble. So take the signs. I mean, in most of the cases, not all cases, again there will always be exceptions. So knight to f5, and bishop to e6 was played, and I don't know, hitting the pawn maybe. Who cares? And knight c5, yeah, Bobby Fischer cares. And knight c5, and here knight e7 was played. I think again bishop to c8 should be played, and again hope for the best. I mean, pray to God, I guess. So yeah, maybe bishop to c8 and should have continued there, but again knight to e7 and knight takes g7, king takes e7 and g5, and yeah, and knight f5 was played. Okay, let's see what happens if f takes g5, obviously, and oops, sorry, f takes g5, then rook f3 and knight to f5 and d4, and yeah, and if after knight f5, if bishop takes e5 check and king to g8, knight d4, knight d7 and knight takes c5, this is also winning for white. So yeah, g5 and hence knight f5 was played. And yeah, obviously if you play f5 simple pawn, and I'm gonna put a bishop on f6, and it's, I mean that's all she wrote. So I'm gonna take your pawn, and I can take your bishop, and I have lots of options open. So I mean, okay, and I think even a feasible plan would be to play h4 h5, I guess. I mean, I'm not sure about the h4 h5 plan, but still, I mean, it's completely winning for white. So knight to f5 and rook to f3, and yeah, you are attacking the rook, so obviously rook to f3 and b6, g takes f6 check, and king to h8 was played. What happens if takes, then knight to e4, and what can I say, and you cannot protect this pawn and you're losing. So g takes f6 check and king to h8, and knight takes e6, rook takes e6 and d4, and d takes d4, bishop to c4, and yeah, I mean d4 idea is not only to, and that's, so takes bishop to c4 and d3. So Ulf Andersson is trying to create some counterplay on the in the middle of the board, in the center I mean, and after bishop takes d3, rook takes d3. Okay, so what are the options available? Rook e d6 can be played, but after bishop to c4, and I mean bishop to c4 can be played, or even bishop takes f5 can be played. It's completely up to you, but let's say bishop c4. I think this is a, and yeah, and bishop c4 and bishop c4, and what can I mean, bishop c4, bishop c4. Okay, so bishop c4, and if you move your queen somewhere, I think I have check, and it's boom time. So so rook e d6, and yeah, okay, and bishop takes f5 is also simply good. If rook d2, then yeah, and this is also good. So, and if bishop takes f5, then g takes f5, yeah, and threatening checkmate. So hence after bishop takes d3, rook takes d3, I think it's a better option, just giving up some material in order to create some counterplay, or in order to get back in game, or in order to survive. Okay, queen takes d3, rook d6, and queen to c4. Obviously whenever you are ahead in material, exchanging queens, or in this material, I think even, let's say takes, I think this should be good enough. I don't know how are you gonna survive. Maybe this I can simply take, and yeah, yeah, I think this is winning. So knight to e6 and bishop to e4. I think here rook takes e5, rook takes f5 should be winning. Rook takes f5 takes, and rook to g7, queen to f8, and queen takes e6, and if rook takes, and then f7, and threatening check and mate, I guess. So yeah, bishop to e5. I mean there are some tons of variations. When I did study this game, I mean it was like a beautiful game. So bishop to e5, rook to d8, h4, and I think again rook takes f5 should work, but yeah, I'm not gonna get into details. I mean if you want to analyze, you can, it's up to you. So h4 and knight to d6, and yeah, just Ulf Andersson, maybe he may have noticed and hence want to step out of that, and queen to g4, knight to f8, h5, and continuing with the attack, and obviously if you take, I think queen check, and boom. So knight to e8 and e4, rook to d2 was played. So what happens if g takes h5, queen to g8 check, and check check check, and mate, boom. So e4, rook to h3, I'm sorry, rook to d2, rook to h3, rook h3 idea, pawn takes, and pinning the pawn, so hence you cannot take with, because takes, knight takes, and rook takes, and I'm winning and piece and game basically. And then again I'm threatening pawn push check, and boom. So rook h3, king g8, and takes, knight takes, f4. Notice that this knight is pinned, hence a5 is coming, king to f8, stepping out of it, and queen to g5, and yeah. And if you take, I think queen check should be good enough, winning ton of material again. Knight to d6, bishop takes d6 check, bishop takes d6 check, and yeah, here Ulf Andersson resign. Let's look at some possible continuations. Obviously bishop takes d6 and rook takes d6, and f5, queen takes, and if knight to h8, then e5, and the thing is, if you take, I'm threatening checkmate, so this is winning. And if bishop takes, after bishop takes d6, rook takes d6, f5. If queen takes f6, then I think f takes g6 should be, and yeah, this should be good enough for win. Yeah, yeah, this is a very beautiful game. Yeah, Ulf Andersson is a mathematician, if I'm not wrong. Maybe bad memory. Yeah, I think Ulf Andersson is a mathematician as well. He's one of the top 10 players in the world in 1990s, and he's a very aggressive player, I guess. Very bad memory, so yeah, I'm sorry for that, but I'll try to post a link about post a link about him in the description if possible. I'm not sure. So yeah, a very beautiful game and lots of things to learn. Seemingly a calm position, Bobby Fischer built up an attack from nowhere, literally from scratch, I should say. So yeah, thank you guys, thank you for watching, and have a good day, guys. If you didn't subscribe to my channel yet, please subscribe to my channel for more videos, and yeah, bye for now, guys.